Hey guys, long time coming. We're gonna cook today. We're gonna talk about not necessarily a bodybuilder diet, but an off-season bodybuilder diet or a gym bodybuilder diet, if you will. Something I want to put something out to kind of explain how I structure my nutrition because I feel like it's a very foolproof and easy way to make sure you're getting all the nutrition you need and making the gains that you want to make. We put a lot of work in here, and honestly, if you put half as much work into the cooking the food as you do trying to eat the food, I truly believe you'll have a much better experience. So what we got here is two types of chicken that I grill weekly. I use chicken breasts for my daytime food, and then every now and then I like some drumsticks because, well, they're good. And like I said, this isn't necessarily like a contest bodybuilder prep. This is what I eat all the time in the off season, and especially right now as I'm coming back from the little mishap. It's really helping me to have some good tasting, nutritious food so that I can get all my calories back in and kind of put some of this size back on, just get healthy. So anyway, we are cooking marinated chicken breasts. I don't trim the fat off. Some of y'all are gonna ask me that because, again, this is off-season work. You have to sear the chicken on the outside, on the hot side of the grill first for like 5 minutes aside so that it keeps the moisture in. I like to use a sugary marinade or barbecue sauce because as you cook it, I really believe most of the sugar that's in that barbecue sauce, as you cook it, kind of burns off. And so, yeah, it's not getting rid of all the sugar in the barbecue sauce, but it's getting rid of a lot of it. And it just helps to caramelize over the top of that meat and keep it sealed in with moisture. Drumsticks are pretty foolproof, man. Just line them up, turn them every now and then. But the chicken breasts, 5 minutes per side. If you have a meat thermometer, that's definitely the best way to do it. But today, I don't have a meat thermometer, and we're doing it the old school way. Timing it. Anyway, so as you can see, line the chicken breasts up on the high heat and let them sit for 5 minutes. The drumsticks, I just turn about every 5 minutes. Like I said, it's hard to screw that up. So, stay tuned. All right, guys, here we are, 5 minutes down. Gonna flip those chicken breasts. You see how the skin really gets kind of dry on the outside. That's what you want, actually. That one's gonna be much longer cooking than the other one. Look how much bigger it is. You get it to seal up like this, and the moisture will just stay in the chicken breast, which is the most important part. I'll tell you the last trick at the end. And again, with the drumsticks, you just turn them. A lot of people think the drumsticks, because they're dark meat, are fattier. They're not, if you check. Thighs are the fatty part of the chicken. There's very little fat in the drumstick meat. Obviously, the skin has some fat and cholesterol in it, but as far as the meat itself, it's much healthier than people think. It's just harder to, get the exact weight that you need, the exact quantities you need. But for our purposes here, that's not a big deal. We just want to eat. We just want to grow big muscle. We just want to stay healthy. All right, guys, here we are. We've come to the end of our 5 minutes searing for the chicken breast. So my little trick is I leave one part of the grill cooler than the rest of the grill so that you can take the chicken breasts over this way when they're finished with their sear and let them cook slower, because they're still not done, but you don't want to roast them because then all the moisture goes away. Don't be afraid to let the big one keep some extra time. So with that, I'll go another 5 minutes, usually or so, on the cooler temperature for the chicken breasts, and the drumsticks, I just keep them turning. Here's a trick about chicken breasts. When you cook your chicken breasts and you get the good sear on them, put them away without slicing them. Don't slice your chicken breast until you're ready to eat it, because as soon as you slice it, it opens up that meat to dry it out. So store your chicken breasts whole and then cut them as you serve them into yourself. I'll show you later when we're prepping all the food for tomorrow. Welcome to the kitchen. We finished up at the grill, and now I know a lot of people ask me about how I pack up my food, and this may seem simple to some of you guys. It's not a very complicated process. I do that intentionally. However, I'm just happy to share it with y'all. So we're gonna put together a day's worth of food for Doug. Okay, first thing you need, a rice cooker. Obviously this is just a bowl from my rice cooker, but I definitely recommend a rice cooker rather than trying to cook rice on the stove or use some of those Uncle Ben's packets. Just invest in a rice cooker, cook your rice every day. It's ready for you. Got 2 types of protein here. Obviously you saw me grill the chicken just now. It's all set to go. And then I have my ground turkey, which I put a little bit of beans and tomatoes in there right now to make it like a chili. However, it's as clean as you want to make it, right? Next most important thing to get is a food scale. If you don't have a food scale and you don't use a food scale in prepping your food, you're going to miss some details. Is it that big of a deal if you're not a competitive bodybuilder? Probably not. But look, if you want to have a regulated diet and you want to have consistent results from your food, you have to have consistent input, which means the same size meals every time you eat them. It's the only way you know whether you need to eat more or less. Okay? So I just think it's real important to have a food scale. I recommend using Tupperwares like this or whatever kind of Tupperwares you have, but make sure that you have a good matching set of Tupperware. Sounds silly, I know, but I promise it makes it easier to just stay organized in your mind and to get used to this process of prepping your food. You need to be able to have Tupperwares you can find, Tupperwares that lids seal, Tupperwares that you fit all your food. And I just like the consistency. It's easily stackable and it goes into your lunchbox neatly. So anyway, here we go. Meal 1 for me is always eggs and oatmeal. Basically, eggs and oatmeal is what I'm going to eat for breakfast. Now, I won't cook the eggs until the morning because I don't like to keep eggs overnight cooked in the fridge. So I just cook those real quick in the morning, but we'll make the oatmeal now. It is 100 grams of regular quick oats. And then I use 2 packets of the brown sugar cinnamon just for a little bit of flavor. Gives you also the extra carbs with some faster sugars. I think that's important. Plus, like I said, this is not a pre-contest diet. This is a stay healthy diet, get bigger diet, and stay on your plan diet. So 100 grams of oats with the 2 packets of instant. And I use regular blueberries. I do not like wild blueberries. Those little tiny ones drive me nuts. Big blueberries, 120 grams. A lot of people think that, you know, fruit is sugar, but blueberries are such an important part of our diet because of the amount of antioxidants that are in there. And so I don't even really look at it as that much of a sugar source in the morning, more so as a vitamin. It's really important to start your day with something like that. Now, I will put almond milk in here and set it overnight in the fridge. And then in the morning, I just pop it in the bag. So there's meal 1. Obviously, we're waiting for the eggs. Now we'll get into our bulk meals, the regular meat, and there's no potatoes, but you get that joke, right? So obviously, start with an empty Tupperware. I'm gonna go with rice first. The rice, I eat 300 grams. So it basically is as simple as that. We kind of assembly line our food, set it up. You'll notice I put a little bit of vegetables in my rice right now. That's simply so I make sure I eat the vegetables. It's gonna keep you getting those micronutrients as well as just that extra little bit of fiber. I always find that vegetables help me with my digestion a lot, but I also don't like them to take up too much literal space in my thing. So this is nice in my Tupperware. So this is nice because I can just put it in there, mix it in with the rice. They steam with the rice when the rice is finished cooking. Super easy. So 300 grams rice, then we'll do 300 grams turkey, right? So literally simple as that. We just scoop it in. Now the ground turkey, I always like to cook slow and low because otherwise it'll be kind of chewy and dry, right? So ground turkey, slow and low, spread it over the top. 300 grams. Boom, meal 2 down. Meal 3 is also gonna be turkey. I eat a little bit more turkey than I do chicken. I eat my chicken later on in the day, but so again, 300 grams. Bam, right on the money. One little thing I think about cooking that people forget is the more effort, I've found anyway, the more effort you put into making your food look nice, the more appetizing it'll be down the road, right? And if you're just slopping stuff in there and kind of piling on, throw it together, you're gonna sit down and open it up, you're not gonna wanna eat it. But I tell you what, just think about the way your mom cooked your food when you were younger. Mom always made it better. She always put a little bit extra in there. And you can do that to yourself too. You can put a little bit of extra in your meals yourself. How'd I do? All right. Now for the chicken. I mentioned earlier, while I was grilling, first off, 300 grams rice, again. With the veggies in there, actually a lot of times I'll go like 320 just to make sure that I get the full 300 grams of rice. I tend to think that in in this stage of my bodybuilding. You know, I'm not pre-contest. I'm not really pinching pennies as far as what exactly I'm doing. I give myself like a 10 to 15 gram window. Of course, I'm a bigger guy, so maybe if you're not a larger person, maybe a 5 to 10 gram window, but your body's not going to notice the difference between 50 and 55 grams as far as your basic nutrition goes. I know some people are going to kill me for saying that. Anyway, here's my biggest trick with the kitchen. Surprise cast member, scissors. Scissors tend to be my favorite way. Like I said, you want to keep your chicken whole, keep the breast whole until you're ready to prep it and pack it, because it'll keep the moisture there. Now, we just cooked this chicken, so it's going to be perfect. But I always found this is the easiest way for me to get my chicken set up. I don't have to make very much of a mess cutting it with a cutting board. You just kind of whittle away at it and let that weight tick up as you're on the scale. These came out beautiful. They really, really did. Bam, bam. So it's pretty much just that simple, guys. It's just an assembly line of meal prep to get yourself ready for tomorrow. Now, I did 200 grams chicken there, and I'm actually going to take a drumstick for lunch tomorrow, because why the hell not, right? Anyway, so just know this. When it comes to training and lifting weights and growing muscle, it's very important that you eat whole, healthy foods. I try to remember that even if it doesn't have a perfect macro count, if it's from the earth, if it's from nature, if it didn't come out of a test tube, it's probably a pretty good bet. We want to stay healthy, we want to stay vibrant, and we want our metabolisms to really, really, really chew on this food and rev up and put it to good use. A couple of tips. Here are a couple of Doug's meal prep tips. If you're struggling to get on a routine, and if you're struggling to eat on a plan, I urge you to try and eat all of your meals out of Tupperware like this. Why do you ask? Because it takes the specialness away from the meal. If you sit down and prep it on a big, nice plate, that's a special meal. You have one of those a day, but you have 6 of these a day. So try to get in the habit of just sit down, eat your food out of the Tupperware. Pack your Tupperware, eat your Tupperware, rock and roll.